This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
Who else could it be? With me, your man, Louie Tee. Welcome to the Command Post Game live show. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. First preseason game in the books for the Washington Commanders, as the Commanders fall to the New York Jets 20-17. But the score is irrelevant. The game itself was a ton of fun to watch. I was excited. Look, let me toot my own horn. Toot, toot. Let me do that real quick because y'all know I love to do this when I'm spot on. So just stick with me, all right? Just rock with the kid, and I'm going to take you where you ultimately want to go, okay? I'm not always going to be right, and there are going to be some detours along the way, and we might have to bust a U-turn here or there, right? But for the most part, I'm going to get you where you need to go. When you need to get there, you'll be on time, all right? You'll get there on time, all right? So what did I tell you yesterday, okay? Jets aren't going to play pretty much any of their starters. You're going to feel a lot better about this team than you did the day before, right? Weather is nice, beautiful day. Had already forecasted that, right? Said, look, we're going to go out and we're going to execute. You know why? Because they're going to have their B- team on the field. We're going to put our A squad on the team, and we're going to make them look like less because they are less. And you're going to feel good about this team, and you're going to walk away saying, you know what, that wasn't bad. Don't overreact, okay? Either way, don't overreact. Don't get too excited. Don't get too high. I don't want to hear that shit either, okay? And don't get too low. Like Forbes gave up a touchdown. I know you're going to kill him. That's fine. I've already said my piece. I've already given you my stance on Forbes, and I've already pleaded with you. Either you're going to accept my plea or you're not at this point, okay? But overall, I told you that the offensive line was going to be fine because they were going to get it out of Jayden's hands quickly, and they did for the most part. I said one possession, in and out, done, right? Beautiful drive. We'll talk about it. I took notes. Lots and lots and lots of notes. Defense. Flying to the football. What did I tell you? A bunch of hats. About 6-7 hats on that third down screen to end that first possession, right? Get them off the field, right? Special teams is a concern. Special teams is still a concern. Did anybody see Jamison Crowder today? Anybody? I'm not saying. I'm just saying. You saw Olamide Zaccheaus quite a bit. Is there any doubt that De'Ami Brown's making the roster? Is there any doubt Olamide Zaccheaus is making the roster? Stick with the kid. I got you. I got you. All right? Stick with me. Who was the first undrafted back to play in the game? And I thought he played well. Michael Wiley. Stick with the kid. I got you. I got you. All right? We got this. A lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff from today. Let's dig in and let's get to the proceedings this evening. So, first things first, I wanted to see what was going to happen on kickoffs, the first kickoff of the game. I told you that we're going to get Jayden for a possession, probably Marcus for a possession or two, and then it was going to be the Jeff Driscoll show pretty much for the rest of the first half, and then it's probably going to be Sam Hartman the rest of the way. I was actually shocked that they brought Jeff Driscoll back at the end of the fourth quarter, but the game kind of went the way that I thought it was going to go, right? So Davion Davis and Byron Pringle were out there on kickoffs to start the game. Now, again, don't overreact to that, but what are we supposed to think? I told you they brought Byron Pringle in here for what? For kickoffs, not for receiver, okay? If he can help you on at receiver, which they know he can because they went to Bobby Ingram, the wide receiver coach who was here last year, and said, hey, can he help us on at receiver? And he's like, yeah, don't worry about that. Can he help us on kickoffs or not? They got Pringle back there, and he had a really good return. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. So I don't think Davion Davis is making this team, but he's auditioning for the other 31, and there's always a spot on the practice squad. He was on the practice squad last year, and he right now, I don't know what he does as a receiver, but as a special teams guy, there's space on his practice squad for Davion Davis right now. I'll tell you that. Right? We'll get to him a little bit later on. So your starting offensive line from left to right in this game, Trenton Scott at left tackle, Nick Allegretti at left guard, Tyler Biadasz at center, Sam Cosmi at right guard, and Chris Paul at right tackle. Good for Chris Paul. Remember, I had him making my 53-man roster, and I said the only issue with Chris Paul is that he's just a guard. He doesn't play center. Well, you know what takes you even above a guy that can play all three interior offensive line positions is a guy that can play both guard and tackle. Chris Paul played tackle at Tulsa. I never thought I'd see him on an NFL field at tackle. He didn't look half bad. Now, look, that's not where he's supposed to be, and that's not what we would be asking him to do on a normal situation. But just knowing that if he's up on game day and and the situation calls for him to be pressed into action, it's good to know that he has that still in his tool belt. Now, there were a couple of plays where he needed a chip, and I'm glad. Know your personnel, right? Know thyself. He needed a chip to be able to stay on that defensive end. Good. Help him, right? Don't leave him out there on an island. Know your personnel. So that was the starting offensive line. De'Ami Brown, deep ball after a really, really bad pass by Jayden Daniels on his initial attempt on a screen. And that you could tell that was jitters. You could tell he was just nervous. Like, whoo, let me get it out. You can see he was smiling. I said, yeah, he's nervous. That's good. Nervous energy, first NFL game. You expected that. And then what did he do on the very next play? Not only did he throw an absolute dime, I mean, dropped it out of the sky. Drugstore cotton soft, feathery touch. It's like it came out of the sky, out of the heavens, the clouds parted, and God said, boop. And De'Ami with a great catch. That was heavily contested. The guy was grabbing on De'Ami's arm and jersey, and he still made the grab. And some of y'all still don't think De'Ami's making the team. I got a message for some of y'all who don't think De'Ami. And De'Ami's got a message for y'all. This is from a very wise woman from All About the Benjamins. And she said, "You still talking shit, bitch?" Y'all better put some damn respect on De'Ami's name. God damn it. Good for Jayden, man. And you know, the cherry on top of that thing, and this is what we've been hearing about him all off season long, all training camp, is he is so far ahead in the process. He's making checks at the line of scrimmage. So I heard from Zach Ertz on the sideline, on one of the sideline reports, that wasn't even the play call on that third down. Okay? That wasn't even a play call. He saw De'Ami had one-on-one on the outside and checked to that go ball and then dropped in a beauty. So the man is already comfortable enough with seeing the coverage, understanding what he has, checking to it, and making it happen. Oh, we got us one. We got us one. That was a dime, right? So that got us down the field. B-Rob, I thought, showed off some incredible physicality today. I love the variety of runs we saw. We saw gun runs. We saw under center runs. We saw read option, right? We saw a speed option on the outside on a pitch to Michael Wiley. We'll talk about that a little bit later. We saw a pitch to B-Rob on the first possession that got us about 6 yards. I just love the variety that we saw in the run game. And I thought B-Rob ran extremely physical in this game. How about Olamide Zaccheaus jumping in with the first team after the Terry wide receiver slot, right? Screen. I hate the fact that they had Jahan blocking for him. I told them to stop doing that shit last year. Do not put Jahan as the primary blocker on a wide receiver screen to that side. Please stop doing that. Please stop doing that. Okay, that play could have gone for a lot more yards if Jahan just blocks, but he got blown up and Terry got tackled. And again, that's not what Jahan is. Stop asking him to do things that he's not capable of doing. Anyway, Zaccheaus was the theme of the day. We'll come back to him because he was outstanding today in more ways than one. They got a chip in the football. This is a non sequitur, but we got a run down inside the 5-yard line. I thought it was a first down. It was an Austin Eckler run on a 3rd down and like maybe 2 or 3. And great push by John Bates to push him over the first down line. And I felt like it was a first down. They initially said it was 4th down. And then they went through this procedure. They're not going to do this in the regular season. They're testing it out in the preseason where they have a chip in the ball, and that chip is going to be able to tell them, is it a first down or not? Took a little while, but ultimately the right call was made. I thought it was a first down, so that was good to see. Eck looks good too. I put that down in my notes. Weaving in and out of blocks, and I thought he did a really good job when he saw the football in this game. I thought he did a really good job. After we had the false start penalty, I want to say it was Nick Allegretti that put us back behind the sticks at like a 2nd and maybe 8. Austin Eckler came back with like a nice little 6-7 yard run that set up the Jayden Daniels keep on the read option for the touchdown. And you got to love it. You got to love the variety of the runs, as I mentioned, but I love the fact that they planted a seed. Cliff, you sneaky bastard, you planted a seed with that keeper, right? Because now we might not show that the rest of the preseason. Just put that one away. Put that one in your back pocket. You don't need to show that no more. It's on film. And everybody knows he can do that, but now the threat of that exists. So now when we get down there, he can just give it to Brian Robinson or Austin Eckler. That end, and this is what I talked about with the offensive line. Offensive line doesn't have to be great this year. This is what I'm talking about. Because now, if that defensive end crashes down, pull it, and he goes. Now you got to stand at home. You got to stay at home outside, keep contained, right? That could easily be a pass, RPO, right? Now there's no pass rush. Don't even have to block you. So there's options. Just showing that one time changes the way teams have to defend us, especially when we get down into the red zone. Love it. Love it. So, Ramiz Ahmed put the PAT through the uprights. We'll come back to the kicking competition. So good for him, right? 7-0. And I was done. At that point, I tweeted out, hey, don't need to see anything else from the starters. Jayden went out there, did his thing, dropped a dime to Diami, had another completion to Terry, ran it into the end zone. What did I tell y'all? About 2 for 3, right, on the day? Just like I talked about with Drake May. That's the going rate for a first-time quarterback. That's a starter. Now, Drake May, I was disappointed because he's not a starter. He should have been out there a little bit longer. But generally speaking, if you're a starting quarterback, you're a rookie, that's what it's going to look like. About 2 or 3 pass attempts. If things would have gone, if he didn't have a 45-yard completion, it would have been a little bit more, maybe 4 or 5 attempts passing. But because he had the 40-yarder to Diami, essentially, he didn't have to throw it that very many times. And the run game was working. Very physical. And I told you, the 3 guys on the interior are going to be key to us being able to run the football. Again, the Jets had their B- squad in there to start. So obviously, it looked a lot easier than it would have had this been a regular season game and they've been playing their guys. However, it doesn't matter. All you can do is control what you can control, dominate the guys that are out there in front of you. And that's what we did, right? Moved the line of scrimmage, created a new one. Guys were getting 2-3 yards up the field before they were even contacted in the run game. And that's what allowed Jayden to stay in very comfortable, manageable situations. Even after a penalty by Nick Allegretti, you handed it off to Austin Eckler, and you still got 6 or 7 yards to set up that read option keep for the touchdown. So Jayden Daniels on the day, 2 of 3, 45 yards, and of course the rushing touchdown from about 4 yards out. And so he had a phenomenal debut. Beautiful to see, and so glad to see him get out there, get his feet wet, get some of those jitters out, right? That first game jitter. You saw it on the screen where he airmailed the thing. After that, he settled in, pointed to the sideline after the deep ball, like, yeah, you see what I just did there? I changed the play and I threw a dime. You saw that, right? Yeah. Yeah, we saw you, boy. You out there dealing. I love it. So then the kick coverage was porous on the ensuing kickoff. We kick off after the touchdown, give up a 33-yard return. I'm telling you, I'm nervous about this special teams unit. They have not instilled any confidence in me whatsoever right now. But I will say there is one caveat right now, and I'll tell you what that is when we get there. But Forbes had some good coverage on an early deep ball where he was in better position than the receiver. That was some good Forbes vibes. Very short-lived, but it was good to see him be in good position and see him get up and do the little shit like this. But again, that was short-lived. St. Juice started opposite, just in case anybody was keeping score at home. St. Juice was out there opposite of Forbes when the starters were out there. And yes, I've seen some of your comments. Jeremy Chin was on the field with the starters. Yes, number 11 was out there on that first possession. So good pressure on a beautiful stunt by Dorrance Armstrong on the first third down of the game for the Jets. He got pressure, and Louvu was lined up as an edge rusher on that play, and he won against the left tackle. And so those two got to the quarterback, forced him out of the pocket. Tyrod rolled out to his right, and then he threw it to the running back who was open, but they had a legal man downfield. But it was a great rush, and it was just a four-man rush. We didn't blitz. We didn't do anything extra. Remember, there was no Bobby Wagner in this game, so keep that in mind when you think about the first unit being out there. There was still no Bobby Wagner, so I thought that the first team defense got out there, got after it. I love the stunt. I love the action up front. And again, no Jonathan Allen, no Daron Payne in this game. Also, keep in mind, when those first two defensive tackles were out there, Fadarian Mathis was one of the two defensive tackles out there, not John Ridgway. Keep that in mind, all right? Along with Benning Poto I knew I was going to do that. Poto Aia, all right? He was the other starting defensive tackle. So just something to keep in mind. You know, just store that away, right? Ridgway played quite a bit now, but just store that away, all right? You know Quinn likes some athletic up front, and Benning Poto Aia is athletic. We saw that last year in the preseason. So, and we saw that 2 years ago against Dallas in week 18. Sam Howell's first start, right? He was flying around. And we said, hey, Benning Poto Aia looks good. I think they like him. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Anyway, so that was a beautiful stunt. And it was just a four-man rush, and we got pressure, and Tyrod had to flush. Luckily enough for us, they had a legal man downfield because he was able to extend. They found the running back. He found the running back down the sidelines. Would have been a first down, but legal man downfield. Then they had to back it up, and then they threw a wide receiver screen, and this was a sight for sore eyes. He tried, first of all, Phil Mathis with a beautiful pursuit. He saw the screen, sniffed it out, stopped, turned, reverse field, and went after the back. Didn't make the tackle, but what he did was he forced him to reverse field. And upon doing that, how many hats did you see to that football? It was at least 6. It was at least 6, maybe 7 burgundy hats to the football. I almost shed a tear. It was a proud moment for me, man. I know it's a preseason game, but damn it, you'd love to see when a plan comes together. All right, get your ass off the field. I was done at that point. Get him off. I don't need to see any more Chin. I don't need to see any more Louvu. I don't need to see any more Dorrance Armstrong, Cleveland Farrell, all of those boys. Get them off. And they were gone. It was just the guys in the secondary. Quan Martin stayed on the field. Benjamin St. Juice stayed on the field. And Emmanuel Forbes stayed on the field. Everybody else was cleared out, as they should have been after that first drive. Olamide Zaccheaus was the first guy back on punts. Where are my Jamison Crowder stands out there? Stand up. And y'all are out there. Get up. Get up. Out your seat. I need to see y'all. Okay, y'all can be seated. Where was your man's at? I didn't even see him in the game on offense, let alone special teams. I already told you, if he's not the primary punt returner, the man is not making this team. Not good. Not good for the Jamison Crowder stands out there. Not a good day for y'all. Olamide Zaccheaus was the first one back on punts. I didn't think he should have fair caught that first one. He had space, but he made up for it on the second one. We'll come back and talk about that later. Tyler Owens makes a tackle on special teams. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm looking at Tyler Owens and I'm like, you trying to make this team? He was like, hey, Louie Tee, what you talking about, man? I said, hey, you trying to make this team? He's like, of course, man, I want to make this team. What you talking about? I'm like, look, I looked at some of these linebackers today. A little rough. You got a shot, bro. Keep doing your thing. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, keep doing your thing. There's a spot for you if you keep doing your thing. That was a nice tackle on special teams on that first punt by the offense or by special teams after Mariota came in and promptly went 3 and out. Now, I think there was a penalty on one of the plays, but he was in and out real quick, was Mariota. So you really can't judge Marcus Mariota because he really wasn't in the game very long. Jamin Davis, I thought he set a physical edge on that, second defensive possession for the defense. He was out there for the first 2 snaps defensively, and I thought he did a really good job. Made 2 tackles in a row. Set a physical edge, shed, got to the ball carrier. I said, okay, Jamin, I see you, bro. And then they were able to get off the field. Olamide Zaccheaus with a beautiful punt return. Man, he was able to make the first guy miss. What does Dan Quinn talk about? Got to be able to make the first guy miss to go, right? Made the first guy miss, turned that left corner, and probably got a gain of about 18 on the punt return. That's all you're looking for on a punt. I mean, you're looking for 6-7 yards, really. He turned the corner, made a guy miss, turned the corner, and got about 18. So he's looking like the primary punt returner right now. Jeff Driscoll came in as the third quarterback. So the third offensive possession, Jeff Driscoll was in, which is what I told you I thought would happen. And I thought he looked good. Did anybody else think Jeff Driscoll looked good? I've always liked Driscoll. I've told you guys this already. When we signed him, I said, I like Jeff Driscoll. He's always played well. Almost beat Dallas when he was a member of the Texans a couple of years ago when the Texans weren't very good. And they went into Dallas, and he played his ass off. He played well in Cincinnati. I've always liked Jeff Driscoll. And I'm telling you right now, if they're going to keep 3 quarterbacks, he'll be the third one. But I don't think they're going to keep 3. I'm pretty steadfast on 2 quarterbacks. But I think he's better than Marcus Mariota. I'm not making a hot take. He's not going to make the team over Mariota. But I think he's better than Mariota. That's just my personal opinion. But whatever. So the offensive line, and this was important for me. The offensive line, when Driscoll came in, that third possession looked like this from left to right. Mason Brooks at left tackle. Let me repeat that. Mason Brooks at left tackle. They're not playing around with this shuffling the deck shit that they were telling us they were going to do. No, they're dead ass serious about finding out what guys can actually do. It's one thing to put Mason Brooks in at tackle in practice or Chris Paul in at tackle at practice. It's another thing to start the game with Chris Paul at right tackle and to have Mason Brooks in on the third possession of the game offensively at left tackle. Now, he did play tackle in college, but he was more of a guard than a tackle. They put him at tackle. They had Julian Good-Jones at left guard, Ricky Stromberg at center, Michael Dieter at right guard, and Chris Paul stayed at right tackle. So that was the first non-starting offensive line unit that they put on the field. They gave Mariota the starters on the offensive line for his one possession, and then they got him and Terry and the rest of those guys out. The only guy that stayed in that's a pseudo starter was Jahan Dotson. Everybody else after Mariota's possession was essentially wiped off the field, and that was it for them. And Terry was wiped off too. He wasn't out there with Mariota. It was Zaccheaus and Jahan out there. So Olamide Zaccheaus, OZ as they call him, had a beautiful slant running catch that was negated by a Cole Turner penalty. He picked off a defender as Olamide was getting up the field. So they called that back. But it just shows some more of the dynamic ability of an OZ and what he can bring to the table. That was the end of the first quarter. An eventful first quarter, lots of fun, lots of good takeaways from the first quarter, and went into the second quarter up 7-0. So at the beginning of the second quarter, Michael, that penalty pretty much killed that drive because it was a third down and it would have been a first down. It was offsetting penalties. They roughed the passer, and then Cole Turner had the penalty. Then we didn't convert the third down, so we had to punt. Michael Walker and Anthony Pittman did not look good early in the second quarter. The 2 big runs by the Jets, I thought both of them were because not only did the defensive line not really get off blocks, but the linebackers didn't do a good job of getting to the football. I thought they over-pursued on one play. I thought they got blocked too easily on another play. I was not impressed with either Michael Walker or Pittman. And Pittman was really guilty of missing a bunch of tackles in this game. I was not pleased with his performance. Really, he or Michael Walker. I was not pleased with their performance throughout this game. Pittman had his moments. He had a pass breakup on a third down where he was in great coverage. He got to the football quite a bit. He just didn't get guys on the ground. There was a catch on a third down by the running back out of the backfield where he should have made the tackle. He misses the tackle, guy spins out of it. But, they were able to clean it up before he got to the first down. But it was another missed tackle by Pittman. But that's why I said, I kept 6 linebackers. We can trim off some fat and keep Tyler Owens. If y'all want to trip, I will gladly trim off some fat at linebacker and add my guy Tyler Owens into the mix. Don't piss me off. Do not do it. Missed tackle by Jeremy Reed. This was probably my most frustrating defensive play of the game. Was a 3rd and 13. They throw a little shallow cross out of the backfield to the running back. And Jeremy Reeves comes flying down from his safety spot, misses the tackle. Old Percival Butler taking that poor ass angle like he always does. He ends up getting in line behind the running back, chasing him, catches him like 15 yards later down the field, but it's like a gain of 21 on 3rd and 13. That can't happen. Reeves missed the tackle, poor angle by Butler. He gets the first down. That can't happen. That was probably my most frustrating play defensively of the game on 3rd and 11. I put in my notes. It was 3rd and 11. Then Forbes ends up giving and so Forbes should have never been in a position to give up a touchdown. They make the tackle there. The Jets have to settle for a field goal, and Forbes is never in position to give up the touchdown that he gave up. But instead, as fate would have it, they give up that play. They get in a position. Beautiful ball up. Forbes was not in bad position. It was a great ball. All right. And it was an even better catch. Forbes was right there. It ain't nothing you can do about that. He got beat, but you can't defense the perfect pass. That ball was perfectly placed on the outside shoulder, up the field, away from the defender. The receiver was able to get 2 feet in bounds. Forbes tried to knock him out of bounds. He just couldn't. And I know you guys are going to kill him, and that's fine. And I'm not going to defend him. It is what it is. He gave up the touchdown. Brownlee can play. He's not a scrub, but you'd like to see Forbes not give that up. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. You would like to see him not give that up. So that tied the game up at 7. Once again, after the touchdown on the ensuing kickoff, Davion Davis and Byron Pringle were back there on kickoffs. I'm just a messenger. Don't kill me, right? I don't even know what that means because maybe you take Davion Davis out and put Austin Eckler in when the season starts. Because, again, I don't see Davion Davis making the team, but I wouldn't count him out yet. I won't count him out yet. I'm just telling you, I won't count him out yet. I wouldn't do that if I were you. Pringle had a really good return there too. Pringle got it out to like the 33, 34-yard line on that kickoff return. This is why they brought Pringle here. I put him on my 53. Now, I'm not telling you he's making it, but there's a reason they brought him in here, and it wasn't to play receiver. Again, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Jeff Driscoll showing off the wheels. He kept it. He said, if Jayden can do it, let me get some. Let me get some. He showed off the wheels. All three of our quarterbacks, 4 if you count Sam Hartman, they can all run. They all got some sort of wheels. Some wheels are better than others. Some move a little faster than others. But Mariota can run. Driscoll can run. And we saw Sam late in the game. Pocket broke down. He took off, and he picked up about 15. So all of the quarterbacks can move. But Jeff showed off some wheels on a quarterback keep. B. Mitch talking about, I think there was a missed handoff. No, it was read option, and he kept it, and he took off for about a gain of like 19. Because Kaz Allen had a nice little run to play before. It was like a reverse. And they tossed it to him, and he took off. And I was like, let's go, Kaz. And they called it back for a holding penalty. So it was like 2nd and 19, and Jeff took off for like 18 and made it 3rd and 1. So good to see Jeff using the wheels, right? McNichols with a really good catch on a tough traffic throw. He got McNichols lit up, did Jeff Driscoll on that play. Like, hey, don't do that shit. Like, if that was Brian Robinson or Austin Eckler, I'd have been pissed off. Not that I wasn't, because I was mad because Jeremy McNichols got up slow. He ended up leaving the game. He did come back after that, and I saw him on the sideline, chumming it up with head coach Dan Quinn. So I know he's good, but don't put my man in that kind of position. Don't be putting my guys in that kind of position, man. He caught that thing, and that was a hell of a catch, by the way. Oh, and just so we know, and I think I put it in my notes. Yeah, I put it on. I skipped over it by mistake. McNichols was the first back in after the starters left the game. So after Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Eckler left the game, Jeremy McNichols was the first back in. Again, take notes of these things. I told you I'm a big stickler for seeing, because actions speak louder than words. The unofficial Deppy is cool and all of that stuff. I don't give a shit about none of that. This is where you're going to find out how they really feel, because they're going to put the guys in the game that they want to see reps from early, right? So understand that it matters who gets in first here or there or there. That shit matters. And Jeremy McNichols being in, right now, I think he's the leader in the clubhouse as the 3rd back. If they're only keeping 3. Now, if they're keeping 4, different story. And I like Michael Wiley. I'm going to plant my flag. I said it in the offseason when I watched the tape on the kid, when I found out he was undrafted, and I said, of all the undrafted guys, every last single one of them, that includes Sam Hartman, give me Michael Wiley. We'll talk more about him later. Anyway, that was a good catch by McNichols, man. In traffic. He's trying to gain favor with me. He's trying to win me over. That's a good start. Because I didn't necessarily love him in the run game, but that was a really good catch. Riley Patterson misses from 39 yards. Wow, 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 wow. He's done. Get him out of here. I'm over him. I already told y'all I didn't like Riley Patterson. Trust me when I talk to y'all, because I watched the league. I've watched this man. I don't like him. And Ramiz looks real shaky too. He made all of his kicks, and we'll talk about it a little bit later on, but get Riley the hell out of here. I think there's still a chance that the kicker that starts this team off in week 1 against Tampa Bay is not on the roster right now. Jahan, so what set up the missed field goal was Jahan fell on a 3rd and 3 fade that he was not going to catch. That ball by Driscoll was way too far into the end zone. He would not have had a chance to catch that football, but I would have liked to have seen him keep his feet and have a shot. He did have a bobbling catch, did Jahan. It was a little bit behind him, right? But I'd still like to see him catch that cleanly, but he made the catch. That's the most important thing. But I'm going to need Jahan to get it into gear. You know what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't a good ball from Jeff, and it was a little bit behind him. So he had to reach behind him as he's going in the opposite direction. But I know you can catch that cleanly. But I'm glad he made the catch anyway. So then you had a nice play by KJ Henry on a quarterback keep on a 3rd down. Good job by KJ. I'm looking at KJ and I'm like, bro, I've already said you're really not supposed to make this team. If F.A. Obada's healthy, you're not on. But you know what? Make plays so that even if F.A. isn't here, I feel comfortable with you going in the game if you have to. I thought he did some good things, did KJ, in this game. And that was his best play of the day by far and away. This came on a 3rd down that was set up because Percy Butler, not Percival, he actually did something good here. So I'm going to call him by his name. Percy Butler took a great angle, broke down, and made a great open field tackle on a 2nd and 8 run to stop them 1 yard short. And that set up KJ Henry making the stop on 3rd and 1 on the quarterback keep on the read option. So good for Percy Butler. I need more of that. Davion Davis was the 2nd punt returner. So OZ had already shown what he needed to show, had broke the big one already. So at this point, they had seen enough from him. His day was done. Davion Davis was the 2nd punt returner. So again, don't count Davion Davis out. And what I'm seeing from him right now, what he's telling me is I might not make this roster. And if I don't get picked up anywhere else, which I don't see it happening, he's going to be on this practice squad because he will be the first guy off the bench to be our backup punt returner and kick returner. That's what he's saying to me. Because you can find another guy to put back there on kickoffs with Byron Pringle should he make this roster. Like I said, you could throw Austin Eckler back there. You could throw anybody else. You could throw Mike Sainristil back there. You could throw anybody else back there. Yeah, that's not important, right? What is important is that if Olamide Zaccheaus for some reason can't go, you need a guy that you trust on both punts and kickoffs. Davion Davis is staking his claim right now that you can trust me. You can trust me. And so there is right now, what he's telling me is there's a spot on the practice squad with his name on it. And you can write that in pen, marker, whatever you want. Davion Davis is on the practice squad. Book that. Now the question is, can he weasel his way onto the 53-man roster? I still highly doubt that, but he's making a case, right? He's making a case. Ben Sinnott with a huge catch and run. Tell me that man ain't look like Chris Cooley on that play. Chris Cooley. Tell me he ain't look like Cooley on that play. Caught it, broke a tackle. He looked like George Kittle on that damn play, as a matter of fact. He broke a tackle. Then it was about 4 dudes on his back. He looked like Spike carrying the little giants on his back, right? Dragging him. They trying to punch it. They got him by his leg. They on his back, and he just dragging him. I'm like, hey, Ben, don't fumble and don't get hurt. Relax. I see what you out here doing. I love it, but I need you, buddy. He said, all right. 44 yards for Ben Sinnott on that play. Chef's kiss. That was beautiful. That led to a 40-yard Ramiz Ahmed field goal. And Mitchell Tinsley, I thought, missed an opportunity to make a name for himself. That was a good ball from Jeff Driscoll in the end zone on a fade ball that went right through his damn hands. I thought, and you know what I said? And I shouldn't have said this. Where's Bryson Tremaine? Why is Mitchell Tinsley in? I shouldn't have said that. That wasn't fair. But that was a good ball, and he should have caught that. And this is why he's not going to make the team. Got to catch that. You want to make the team? You got to make plays. They gave you an opportunity right there. And that was fairly early in the game. That's 2nd quarter. They're giving you an opportunity. And he didn't take it. That led to the 40-yard field goal. And so, can we be honest? Late in the game, when we scored the touchdown to make it 17, I was kind of hoping the drive would stall out and it would end up being like a 53-yard field goal because I really wanted to see. Is that wrong of me to not want to have to not score a touchdown in that situation? Because we were really in that 36, 35-yard range, and then we had a nice little completion, I think. Either that or, you know what it was? I think we had the nice little run, but we were closer to that. It was we had another conversion somewhere in there. Somebody had a catch, I think. It was Diami, I think, had a catch. Diami ran a curl and caught it on a 3rd down. I was like, shit. Am I wrong for rooting for a 55-yard field goal, 53, something like that, so I could see if Ramiz would – because after that point, they weren't going to put Riley Patterson back out there. He had already blown his opportunity, you know. So was I wrong for rooting for a field goal, a long-distance field goal? Maybe I was. Anyway, they kicked the 40-yarder. Ramiz made it and made it 10-7. Noah Igbenogany, I told y'all that he's insurance. He's the general, right? He ain't State Farm. He ain't Progressive. He ain't Geico. But he's the general in the slot for us because he's some insurance. I didn't say it was the best insurance, but he's some insurance. He made a really good play, and then he injured himself on that play. He came out of the game. It was good to see. I was nervous. He came out of the game, but he came back into the game in the third quarter in the second half, so he's fine. So that's good news because we need him. I think he's the fifth corner right now. I'm almost assured of it at this point. He's the fifth corner. All right. After James Pierre got beat for the deep ball, and Castro Fields had a special teams penalty, and Caillou Blue Kelly, he was solid in this game. I thought he was hit or miss, but Noah Igbenogany was in the game in the first half. He's the backup nickel. He can play. They're comfortable with him. I feel really confident that he's the fifth corner. Stick with me. I told y'all he was the fifth corner. Stick with me. I'm not gonna lead you astray. So that was the end of the first half. We led at halftime, if I'm not mistaken, 10-7. I think it was 10-10 at halftime. They went down, got a field goal. Their kicker. Isn't it a treat to see a kicker bang it home from 56 and it hit the midpoint of the net? You know the net is like 4 to 5 yards behind the uprights, right? You do know that, right? So when you see the ball hit the net, that means it was good from another, and depending on where it hits the net. If it hits the middle of the net, that means it was good from another 8-9 yards away. That man banged it home from 56 in the middle of the net. Greg Zuerlein did. Remember, he was Young Jeezy once upon a time when he first got in the league, and then he was Greg the Leg. So you don't get nicknames if you trash, all right? Young Jeezy and Greg the Leg, and he still got it. You know the last thing to go when you're a kicker is your leg, which is why you can kick forever. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if we had a kicker that could kick it like that? Wouldn't it be nice? We used to. He's a sly guy. We used to, but I know it's funny because a lot of y'all asking for the sly guy, and y'all were the same ones that were trying to run him out of town last year. Joey could kick it a mile, a country mile, and then would miss the 37-yarder. And as soon as he missed that 37-yarder, you're going to be reminded of why Joey's not here. Don't look for Joey. Blame Brandon McManus's stinking ass for this. We should not be in this predicament. We should not be in this predicament. It's his fault. Second half starts. Noah Igbenogany with good coverage again on the third down, running stride for stride with the receiver down the field. He did not look back for the ball. I would have loved for him to look back because he was in position to locate the ball. He might have been able to pick it off, but he didn't touch the receiver. He did not impede the receiver, and it was good coverage by Noah Igbenogany. So I felt like he had a strong day, that Noah Igbenogany. Davion Davis back on punts again after the stop by Noah Igbenogany on third down. And then in comes Sam Hartman for his first NFL action of his career. Hartman's first pass was to Luke McCaffrey. We got a Luke McCaffrey sighting. Luke Mack, good to have you. Return of the Mack. Oh, yeah. Good to see Luke Mack making something happen. And he made another catch later in the game. We'll talk about that when we get there. Michael Wiley, first of the undrafted running backs. Remember, there's Austin Jones out of USC, and there's Michael Wiley out of Arizona. And I told you of all the undrafted guys, this includes Tyler Owens and a guy that, look, a lot of people keep bringing up Colson, right? The tight end from UCLA, and I like him too. But the guy that I like the most, and I said the guy that has the best chance to make this team was Michael Wiley. Michael Wiley looked good today. Michael Wiley looked good today. All right. Before we get to him, another nice catch and run by Ben Sinnott. Threw him a little out route, broke a tackle, turned it up, got a gain of 12. I'm just looking at Ben like, You're going to be a nice little weapon, my friend. This rookie class, I'm telling you, this rookie class has a chance to be a foundation. Remember how we were going all Google? I know I'm guilty. My hand is up. I'm guilty as charged. I can't run from it. When I'm right, I'm going to tell you I'm right. I've been telling you I was right all day today so far. But when I'm wrong, I'm also going to be the first to tell you that I was wrong. And I thought that we had a chance, that 2022 class with Sam, right? Sam Howell and Jahan Dotson and Brian Robinson Jr. and all of those guys. Cole Turner. I was like, man, this class has a chance to be the foundation setter. If Sam's the guy that I think he can be, Jahan showed me a lot in his rookie season. Cole Turner had some ability. Brian Robinson Jr., we see what it is, and they made that trade, and it got us the rest of those picks, including Sam. I was like, this could be the foundation setter. And we did get some stuff out of there, though. Got Brian Robinson Jr. out of there, and I think Jahan's going to prove to be really good, too. We still got some stuff, but it wasn't the foundation-setting draft that I was hoping it could be. This one, though, this year, you get your quarterback. Johnny Newton's going to be a stud. Mike Sainristil still is going to be a dog. Ben Sinnott looks like a player. Brandon Coleman might be our starting left tackle. And Luke McCaffrey's going to end up being good. You know, I didn't see Jordan McGee at all today. Speaking of which, I saw Hampton. I was tracking him. Thought he was solid today. I didn't see Jordan McGee. I wonder if I just missed him or if he didn't play today. This feels like he didn't play. This feels like a DNP. I'll have to check on that. I don't think I saw him. But all I'm telling you is this draft, look, even Javonte Jean-Baptiste made a play. Even he made a play today. I said, hey, go ahead on, man. I've been talking a lot of shit about you. Go ahead on, man. He said, yeah, I heard your shit. I heard your jokes. Okay. Cole Turner with another penalty. I was picking on Cole today because he couldn't get right. He can't get right today. Right? Caught a screen, ain't go no damn where. Had the penalty that negated the nice OZ catch. Then has another penalty on. He finally catches a pass that's worth a damn, and it turns out he pushed off to do it on an OPI. It just wasn't a good day for Cole Turner. Bryson Tremaine climbs the ladder and makes a catch. After the OPI, pushed his back. He goes and climbs the ladder and goes and gets one. I said, okay, I see you, Bryson. They tried him down the field a couple of times. It didn't work, but he made a catch there. After almost throwing a pick, I mean, he literally threw the ball right to the safety that Sam Hartman. Hartman scrambles for 19, and that was I said, hey, Hartman's showing off the wheels. I know he can run because I watched him at Notre Dame last year. So I know if need be, he can tuck it and run, and he showed it off there. And then I put in my notes, really liking Michael Wiley. Let's talk about Wiley real quick, man. I really like this kid. I thought he played his ass off today. I thought there was patience in the run game, making guys miss. I saw him make two guys miss. I saw a sharp cut. This is what you saw on tape from him. In the hole, a sharp cut in the hole to then get to the second level. I saw him running through contact, moving the pile forward a couple of times. I thought he showed a little bit. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but he showed a little bit of quickness and speed to turn the corner on that speed option that they ran on that third down, that setup. That was the possession where I was like, am I wrong for wanting them to not get closer so that they can end up having to kick a 53-yard field goal? Am I wrong for this? Because I really want to see what Ramiz Ahmed's going to do. Maybe I was wrong for that. Now, let me go back to Ramiz on the field goal that made it 10-7, right? That was from 30. So the Riley Patterson miss was from 39. His was from 40. That kick wasn't that far up the net from 40 yards out. Now, look, some guys like to take a little bit of it off when you're not that far. You know, I like my kickers to consistently kick the shit out of the football. It doesn't really matter. where you are. If it's 37, kick that bitch all the way to the top of the net or over the net, right? If it's 42, kick it all the way to the top of the net down the middle, right? When I watch Justin Tucker, he didn't take nothing off for nothing. That bad boy is all the way to the top, and it's right down the middle, center cut. And Ramiz looked like he was struggling from 40, right? Look, it went right down the middle. I had no issues with that. But it wasn't that high up the net, and it wasn't that far of a kick. And I'm like, bro, how far do we actually go? Which is why, and every time we talk about him in practice, we talk about, oh, he went 4 or 5. That one miss is usually from 53 yards. It's usually from 53 yards. He missed 2 in a row, 3 in a row. In the Jets, joint practice, again, the weather was inclement. I don't care because you're going to play in inclement weather, and you're going to have to make kicks in inclement weather. And all of those kicks were further down the field, 40 yards and above. I really want to see him tested from deep because I don't think he has the leg. And I think because he doesn't have a super strong leg, that when you don't have a big leg, you overcompensate by trying to kick hard, and that messes with your accuracy. If you got a big leg, then you're not going to change your stroke. You're just going to go up there and you're going to boot it because you don't have to, your leg is big enough to get it there. So you don't have to do anything extra. You don't have to put any extra oomph into it. Just do your normal thing. Ramiz strikes me as a guy that's going to have to do extra, and that's going to mess with the accuracy, which is why I don't think our kicker is on the roster right now. I really don't. So anyway, I thought Wiley showed some quickness and some speed to turn the corner on that speed option. Stayed in bounds because he turned the corner on a guy that tried to push him out of bounds, stayed in bounds, got up the field. I was hoping he can get close enough to dive for the end zone, but he ultimately got in 2 plays later on a touchdown. I like Michael Wiley, and I'm gonna start banging the table for this man to be the 3rd running back. I'm starting my campaign today. Michael Wiley for running back 3. It ain't gonna happen, but that's not going to stop me. Just like people who run for president or run for office that know they ain't going to win, but they run that campaign anyway. Spend those dollars. I'm starting my Michael Wiley for RB3 campaign today. Luke McCaffrey with a nice catch and run for 19 yards. Hey, Luke Mack, return of the Mack. Oh, yeah. Good to see Luke Mack getting involved. So Senate got involved. Luke Mack got involved with a couple of catches. Good to see the young fellas out here getting involved and making their presence felt. So, again, this draft class off to a good start. Again, it's early. And in the case of Luke McCaffrey, he was playing against dudes that won't be on an NFL roster more likely than not. I don't care. Go ball it. Go ball, boy. If they put bums out there, beat them up. That's what he did. Good for him. That was the end of the 3rd quarter, right? When you get to the 4th quarter, not much. At that point, you're just ready to get the game over with. Cash Allen with a nice wide receiver screen run and catch to start the 4th quarter. So that was good to see. I thought both times he touched it, looked good. Jumped over the pile twice. I like Kaz's movements. He just doesn't do a lot of stuff. He doesn't go down and make special teams tackles. He's not a good receiver. He's a gadget guy, which is what they did. Wide receiver screen and then a reverse. So he just doesn't do enough to make, but I love his movement skills. He just doesn't do enough, right? He doesn't do enough to make a roster. Wiley caps off the drive with a touchdown run after beautiful option pitch on 3rd down. I already talked about that. Michael Wiley, I thought had a sensational day, if you ask me. And then one of my favorite moments, Tressway makes a tackle at the end of the game, essentially. It was probably like 4 minutes left in the game after a punt. And the guy runs all the way to the right. The returner does. Breaks a tackle. And he reverses field to the left. And I'm like, oh, shit. He got a wall set up. Once you run to the right like that, everybody's running to the right. There's nobody on the left side. Here comes Tressway out of nowhere. And he makes the shoestring tackle. It was a beautiful tackle. Great form. Tress gets up like I've been here before. Got his head down, walking on it. And everybody is amped. Frankie Louvu comes over, jumps in the air, hits him on the helmet. Everybody's over there smiling, laughing, hitting Tress on the head. You know his boy Jeremy Reeves was one of the first dudes over there. It was a great moment. I got amped. I got excited for my guy Tress out there, right? Making a tackle. That was pretty dope. That was fun. That was the last thing that I put in my notes. It was a fun first preseason game. I thought it was a great start to the Adam Peters, Dan Quinn era of football in Washington. It's exactly what I thought it was going to be. Everything that I envisioned it being. I told you that I was excited yesterday for a new beginning, right? For this fresh start. And I said the beginning of something big, something real, tangible, and sustainable. That's what today it symbolized for me. And that's what it felt like. That's what I envisioned it being. And that's what it ultimately looked like. Now, I don't know if that's what it's going to end up being, but it felt like it. And the guys went out and responded. Everything that they told us about being physical, they were physical today. Playing fast, they played fast today. Yep, there were mistakes. Those are going to happen. But they talked about moving guys around, trying to find out who can do what. We saw guys moving everywhere, especially on the offensive line. Chris Paul played tackle. Chris Paul played guard. You know, Ricky Stromberg played guard. Ricky Stromberg played center. Julian Good-Jones played guard. He played center. We got guys shuffling all over the place. Mason, Brooks played tackle, guard, and center in this game. So, at the end of the day, I thought it was a great debut for the fellas. Jayden Daniels, excellent start to his career. Can't wait to see him, playing on a full-time basis. Defense, I thought, got after it, even without, probably a good third of the guys that'll be out there on, normal game days. There was no Allen, there was no Payne, there was no Wagner out there, and yet those guys still went out there and played really well. Again, against the Jets B- squad, which is fine. I didn't care about that. I knew that's what it was going to be. And that was all the more reason why I told you you'd walk away feeling better about the team today. And you did. I can't speak for you. How do you feel about the team? How did you feel about the performance today? I should ask, not tell you how you feel. So what we'll do real quick is we will go inside the odds, and then we'll talk about those odds, and then we'll jump into the comment section. So let's go inside the odds, brought to you by BetUS.
Inside the odds.
So, Inside the Odds is brought to you by BetUS. If you're looking for a new book this football season, BetUS is the answer. Fastest payouts in the industry. 125% sign-up bonus for up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. Fast and easy deposit and withdrawal process. Check out my BetUS link, which is down in the description of this video. So, the money line on this was minus 115 for the Commanders. So naturally, Vegas knew we were going to win this game because the Jets weren't playing anybody. That's what they thought, at least. We did lose this game. In my mind, so for some reason, I felt like we won. Because everything went so well. Look, I got on white. Normally, I don't wear white during a loss, right? That's not my thing. I don't wear white on a loss. But this felt like a win, okay? This felt like a dub. So the spread was 2.5, minus 2.5, which the game ended up being right in that neighborhood, right? It was a 3-point victory. The total, I'm always fascinated, especially with preseason totals, because there's usually not a lot of points being scored. The total for the game, 34.5. And all of these numbers are brought to you by BetUS. 34.5. 37 points scored in this game, 20-17. You don't expect a lot of points to be scored in preseason games. I think I saw Eagles and Ravens 16-13. That's usually like the numbers, right? Some crazy numbers, 29, 30 points scored, 17-13, that kind of thing. So we did hit the over on the total there. And then I wanted to throw this at you as well right now. Commanders overall wins total for the season. This is also brought to you by BetUS. We've talked about this already. The number initially, when it first came out, I think that number was 7.5, and I went nuts. 7.5? What? Remember I went crazy? This is more like it. 6.5 is more my speed, which is where I think we should be. So the over, if you bet the over, and so what essentially the odds makers are saying is we aren't really sure, right? You see what the money line is? -110 over 6.5, -120 under 6.5. So we could go either way, is what they're telling you, right? That's what they're telling you. So they don't know. They really don't know what we're going to do. What says you? Over 6.5 wins for the Commanders this upcoming season or under 6.5 wins? I can't wait to see what you guys think about that. My guess right now is I'd slap down 100 on the over. I think we're going to win 7 games. At least 7 games. It wouldn't shock me if we won 6. And then you would just fall slightly under the 6.5. But I could see us winning 7. I'd take the over on that, right? Anyway, I digress. Let's get to the comment section and see what you guys have to say. Felt really good about that performance. Started off with my guy, Door Gunner. Door Gunner, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Door Gunner writes, went outside to stretch and warm that leg up, Lou. I told you, you ain't got to get ready if you stay ready. Just stay ready. Stay in the bullpen, stay warm, and stay ready, all right? Because as you can see, we might need you. We've talked about this. We had this conversation already. Stay ready. You ain't got to get ready if you stay ready, Door Gunner. Swaggy Pete, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Swaggy P writes, me watching the deep shot to Diami from Jayden and Jayden's rushing touchdown. Birdman hand rub. I love it. Yo, when he threw that deep ball, I think I've watched about 4 or 5 preseason games already to this point, and I've seen more 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2 deep ball shots than a little bit. Like teams are taking advantage of it's 3rd down and short. It's the preseason because normally you're not taking the shot there. The elite quarterbacks might, but generally speaking, you just want to pick up the 1st down. You're not looking for the deep shot. But Jayden had, and that was not the initial call. It's not like they called a play for him to take that shot. He saw the opportunity and he checked to it. And I think that's what the point to the sideline was about. Like, yo, I checked and I made that play. Look at that, y'all. Saw what I just did, right? I just loved everything about that. The fact that he had the confidence to check at the line of scrimmage. He saw the coverage and knew what he had. That's number 1. So identifying what the defense is doing. That's 1. 2, having the knowledge of everything and then the gumption to go up there and check, right? I've been doing this in camp. So now I'm going to do it in the game, right? And to check and then having the confidence to throw it to Diami because Diami's made plays for him. Now, he made one in the joint practice, a very similar throw, very similar catch. And Diami coming down with it. It was all beautiful, man. And I'm happy for Diami because Diami, he's endured a lot of shit, man. A lot of the fan base, again, not fair to him. A lot of the fan base has not been fair to Diami. And so I'm happy for Diami and the opportunity that I think he's going to get this season. They like Diami a lot. The touchdown run was just a cherry on top. It was like, if he did nothing else after the deep ball to Diami, I was good, right? If the next 3 plays were handoffs and we kicked a field goal, I was good, right? I'd seen enough. So the fact that, he was able to keep it and jaunt into the end zone, I smiled because I'm like, they got to deal with this shit right here. I haven't felt this way about the position since Robert, right? His rookie season, because you knew they were going to have to deal with his legs. And then he showed the ability to throw the football. And you're like, hey, you got to pick your poison. That's just what it is. You got to pick which one you want. Made me smile. And now I don't need to see it the rest of the preseason. We're not gonna see Jayden but 1 or 2 more possessions anyway. He'll play 1 or 2 possessions against the Dolphins. He's not playing in the 3rd preseason game, and that'll be it. So I love the fact that Cliff not only planted the seed with Jayden, he planted that seed with Jeff Driscoll too. How many times we see Jeff Driscoll run quarterback? Even Sam Hartman ran a quarterback keep or a read option that he kept. He should have gave it. But even he ran a read option and kept it. I love it. Rob, you been a member for 35 months. We getting so close to that 3-year anniversary, that 3-year mark. He says, what up, Lou? Hold on. Let me give you your proper respect. Small sample size, but looking forward to the season. The deep ball to Diami was really impressive. That it was, because there was not a lot of space there, right? He dropped that thing in literally a bucket. There was not a lot of space between Diami and that defender. Diami had to fight for that thing, and it just dropped. Boop! Right there, right where it needed to be. Swaggy P, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Michael Wiley looking good, might take C-Rod's spot. Well, first of all, does C-Rod have a spot to take? Okay, that's the $1 million question right now. Does C-Rob even have a spot, or C-Rod even have a spot to take? Because again, if they're keeping 3, he wasn't the 3rd running back in the game. That distinction went to Jeremy McNichols. So if they're keeping 4, then we can talk about C-Rod's spot being. And again, there was a sizable gap between C-Rod in the game and then Michael Wiley coming in the second half. So I still think they're more comfortable with C-Rod and what he provides right now than a Michael Wiley. But that's not going to stop me from making my campaign and going through with it. Because I like what I saw from Wiley. And I know he can catch the football. He caught it really well at Arizona. So I'm going to start my campaign for Michael Wiley to make this team. Trevor Patch, thank you for being a member for 33 months. You too, my friend, are getting close to that 3-year mark. Did you see what Hartman did to get pulled? Disrespected JD5 on the sidelines by rizzing up his moms. Everyone like and share while LT reenacts Sam's riz. No, I didn't see any of that. I didn't know. I think they just pulled him. Hey, I just know I was shocked when they took him out of the game. Like, what are they doing? I didn't think we would see Jeff Driscoll again in this game. I wonder what the rationale was behind that. I don't know what happened there, but anyway, we're gonna leave Jayden's mom out of this. Okay. CGM87. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. CGM87 writes, we could have had Christian Gonzalez, but no, Ron picks Forbes, who will be asking paper or plastic in the next 12 months. I mean, it is what it is at this point. He's here. I already told you this is how I usually feel about picks that I didn't want. They're here. There's nothing we can do about it. All we can do is support them at this point. But we all thought it was going to be Christian Gonzalez when he didn't get picked right ahead of us. We were in the clear and we thought we had, everything we needed in front of us. And they decided to go with Emmanuel Forbes. So we're stuck with what we have. And now let's just see if we can make the best of it. So I'm not going to cry over spilled milk. And Christian Gonzalez isn't here. And they didn't pick him. So I don't want to keep talking about that because it's not going to change anything. I learned that with the Deron Payne situation. Like, continuing to talk about it isn't going to change it. Right? So it is what it is. But another tough outing for Forbes. And again, it wasn't all bad. It wasn't all bad. He was good early. Had a tackle, out of bounds, knocked the guy out of bounds physically, and was in another tackle on a run that broke to his side. And then he had the pass breakup, but still gave up a touchdown. Hexus Gaming, been a member for 9 months, who writes, we're still in the process right now. Happy with the game. Yep. That's the biggest takeaway is this is just the first step of a lot of steps that have to be taken. And it feels good to see that first step was very productive. It was everything that I thought it was, everything that I envisioned it being, it was. And I couldn't ask for more than that, honestly speaking. Honestly speaking. Trevor Patch, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, every pick Ron made without Kyle Smith is trash and smells like Dan. Only a few left. Trade them while you can. Jamin trash, Jahan trash, Forbes trash, hashtag 10 toes down. I can't co-sign all of those guys being trash. I can't. I thought Jamin showed some flashes today. They moved him around. He played off the ball linebacker. He played defensive end. So they continue to work with him and kind of see what he can provide them with. Jahan is going to be just fine. I'm not worried about Jahan. And Forbes, again, I'm going to reserve judgment on him because I want to see him in this scheme. Every time he gets beat, it's just straight man-to-man coverage. And a lot of times he's in press position and he gets beat. And I told you his technique isn't good. So anytime he transitions to turn and run, he loses a step. And that's when the guy gets on top of him and runs by him and he can't make up that ground. So for me, it's about getting him into the scheme, getting him into positions where he can jump routes and use his superpower. Until he's doing that, he's going to look like this. And I'm okay with that because I know what he is now, right? I can never be upset when somebody shows me who they are. If somebody shows you who they are and you continue to let them get away with the things that they're doing and they already told you who they are, then that's on you. So the onus is now on the staff. He's shown them the tape last year and what he's shown this year in camp and now in the preseason, in the joint practice. He's shown you what he's capable of in press man-to-man situations. Don't put him in those situations. Don't do it. And I don't think they will. I don't think they will. Joshua Farish, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Joshua writes, I guess we are out of the QB wilderness. Not yet. Not yet. Don't jump the gun. But I'm telling you, I'm packing my shit up. I'm packing my things. I'm packing my shit up. I'm saying my final goodbyes to all of the forest animals that I've been, befriending for decades upon decades. I know them on a first name basis. There's Smokey the Bear. Man, we had some good times. There's Slippy the snake over there. He's a good dude, man. I've seen him shed skin a bunch of times. Yeah. So it's a lot of good memories in here. A lot of bad ones. More bad ones than good. We ain't out of here yet, but I'm packing up my shit and I'm telling everybody I think I'm getting out of here. CGM87. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Coaching staff is already miles ahead of last year. The minute they were hired, they were miles ahead of last year. We could have hired, I could have been the head coach and hired about 7 or 8 of y'all and we would have been miles ahead of the last staff. We were so bad last year. Don't think the record will be great this season, but within 2 or 3, we should be good year in, year out. That's my mindset. I don't think the progress that we will have ultimately made this year will show up in the left-hand column where you want it to. But ultimately, fans like myself and you out there who watch this team religiously, that live and die on each snap, who are as locked in as anybody as to the happenings of this team, you'll know, right? Anybody else outside the fan base will be calling us trash, this, that, and the third, and that's fine. because they're going to look at the left-hand column and there won't be enough damage done there. But I'm telling you, I can already feel it. I can sense it because of what's going on and the transformation that's taking place. This team's going to be different this year. You can already see they're playing harder. They're playing for one another. You can already see that. You can already see that they're much better coached. You know this is going to happen. Now it's about getting the most out of the players that you have, figuring out what players are going to be here for the long haul. When we finally do turn this thing around, who's here? That's what we're in the process of doing. Gathering and collecting players that are going to be a part of the solution when we're ready to start winning big. Because again, a lot of these dudes aren't going to be here for that. But they're here setting the foundation and helping us get to a point where we can stabilize this thing. But they won't be here when we ultimately win 10 or 11 games. And that's okay. Zach Ertz is even in his sideline interview today. He's like, they're setting a great foundation here. They're going to be really good in the future. And he kept talking like, I'm not going to be here when it happens. He says, but they're going to be really good in the future. But I'm so glad to be here helping them set the foundation. He knows, right? The great Watubi, been a member for 34 months. Getting close. When is the Super Friends prediction stream? That is going to take place the final week of August when there is no football. So we're going to entertain you that week after the third week of the preseason. Remember, there's that gap now that there's no fourth preseason game. We're going to jump in and we're going to entertain you that week with our prediction stream. So be on the lookout for that then, right? Rob, thank you for your generosity, gifting 5 memberships. Shout out to all the brand new members, courtesy of Rob. Really appreciate you, Rob, for all that you do. My guy, Rob, thank you for the support. Ryan E., thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Ryan E. writes, what up, Lou? What up, Ryan? Ryan writes, JD looked solid. Yes, he did. Yes, I would even say more than solid. He had the one miss. You could tell it was jitters. It was nervous energy. He looked really good. Really good. In command of the offense. I told you, I'm more about the process. And the fact that he was able to step up to the line on the first third down of the game on 3rd and 3 and change the play and deliver a dime down the field to De'Ami Brown. I was saying to myself in the moment watching him, Cliff, what are you doing dropping him back like that with this line in front of him? What are you doing? That wasn't Cliff. Cliff didn't do that. Cliff was like, don't put that on me. I'm trying to get it out of the young fella's hands quickly. You see all of these handoffs we doing? You see the slot screen to Terry? You see what I'm out? I tried to throw a screen to Austin Eckler. You see what I'm out here doing? That wasn't on me. I was trying to get it out of his hands quick. He dialed up the shot down the field. I was like, all right, my fault. My fault, Cliff. My fault. My fault. I don't want no smoke. He says, OZ impressed. He says, Senate might be a beast. OZ impressed. Wiley was solid. Owens pushing the 53. De'Ami is making the team. So is Samer still, who's wearing 2. Yes, we'll talk about that in a second. NFL Plus coverage called Newton's name. Did he play? He might have played. I didn't think he would play. But I don't know if he played or not. I'm not going to lie to you. I know that first drive with the starters, Phil was out there. Who was next to Phil is the question, because I didn't see who was out there next to him. I know on the second possession, Benning Poto Aia was out there. Or Benning Poto Ai was out there. And he made the sack to end that possession. So I just assumed he was out there with the first team, but it could have been Johnny Newton. Could have very well been Newton. There's nothing wrong with him. They just been kind of, slow playing him. But he's perfectly fine to get out there. So I wouldn't be shocked if he was out there. And he played 2 or 3 snaps. I wouldn't be shocked if he was out there. Again, he's not injured. They're just taking it slow with him. But they can afford to throw him out there for 2 or 3 snaps, which is what they did if he played with the starters. So I wouldn't be shocked. So here's the thing on the number 2. Diami is number 2. Mike Sainristil would have to get a new number if both of them make the roster, because Diami was number 2 last year and has been number 2. And so it's his number. Sainristil can wear 2 in camp because you can wear whatever you want in the preseason. But, you know, obviously Sainristil, and I respect to him, I would have done the same thing. There were no 20 numbers left. I'm not wearing 43 or no bullshit like that. You're not going to put me in no nasty number. So all of the 20s were pretty much spoken for by the time he got here, because that's the most popular number. Guys like Castro Fields in 26, a bunch of those dudes are getting cut. So some 20 numbers will free up, and then he'll be able to pick up one of those jersey numbers. But right now, I mean, it is what it is. You know, you just wait to see who gets cut, what comes available, and then you go from there. So, you know, if one of these kickers gets cut, like Ramiz Ahmed, what is he, 3? Maybe he takes the number 3, right? Because when he got here, I think 3 was already spoken for. I think, if I'm not mistaken, McManus or somebody. Joey Sly had what? I think he was 4, I think. He was 6. So, I don't know. We'll see. But it's Diami's number, just so we're clear. Sainristil will have to find a new number. We'll see what he chooses. Going Commando. Been a member for 27 months. Really appreciate you. Who writes? Ben Sennett equals dog. Michael Wiley greater than C-Rod. Diami plus OZ equals lock. Y'all are coming around. Y'all are coming around. I like it. I like it a lot. Y'all are coming around to the idea of Diami and OZ being locks on this roster. Ben Sennett, I liked him at K-State. I didn't think he was going to go as high as he ultimately did. I love the pick even more so now. I love it even more so now. And Wiley is better than C-Rod, but look, I'm not a C-Rod fan, so you're not saying much by saying that. I like Michael Wiley a lot, and so y'all already know. People be getting on me about C-Rod. I'm just not a big C-Rod fan. I've been said that though. J Mart, been a member for 33 months. Respect, getting close to that 3-year period. Thoughts on number 1 being in the game late? And you say late, you're talking into the second quarter, almost at halftime. He needs reps. He's a young player. He hasn't earned the right to be out of the game when Terry and, you know, Brian Robinson Jr. and some of those other guys who are more established in the league come out of the game. I had no issues with Jahan standing there and getting more reps. They want to get him more touches, more opportunities. He was like, I look at it like this. When you're in, like, and I'm going to use a basketball analogy. When you're in the game with the starters and you're not the guy, you're the 4th or 5th option on the court, it's not as many opportunities for you, right? The offense doesn't run through you. You get whatever opportunities come your way, but they're not running sets for you, and you're not supposed to shoot the ball unless you're wide open, right? But if I put you on the court as a starter with the second unit, now you have the freedom to go and take any shot you want. It's really your show because you're the first option. You're the primary option with that second unit, right? Jahan was the primary option out there with the targets that were on the field. So they were really trying to get him going. He caught a little out route. They tried to throw the deep ball to him, and it just didn't happen. But I like the fact that they put him out there and they tried to get him some more work. You know, This is a big season for him, and we've talked about that already. So he needs as much work as he can get. I had no issues with it. Rob, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. I think this is a double up. I'm not sure, but we're just going to do it anyway. Double up. Who writes, Senate looks like he might be one. Yeah, Senate looks like he might be one. He might be one. And I already felt that way with him coming out of college because I know his skill set, seen what he was able to do. But one of the things you see on tape with him is that physicality, run after catch. You're going to have to come with your hard hat if you're going to get him down, that sort of thing. Sneaky athlete. A lot of people that were really high on him, that when we would talk about tight ends, a lot of people would bring up Ben Sinnott and be like, yo, he's a dog. He's, faster than you think. And he had a really strong combine. You're seeing all of those things come together. It's just weird seeing him in 82, knowing what 82 was the last 3-4 years and how slow 82 always moved. It's just, I have to readjust my eyes a little bit to 82. Speaking of which, did you see Logan Thomas got cut by the 49ers? His career is probably done at this point, is my guess. Door Gunner, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Door Gunner, thank you for being a member, or double up, and thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, balanced offense with runs, screen passes, and throws down the field. You would have thought all of this was illegal after watching last year's play calls. Last year was so bad on so many levels that it left this fan base scarred, and it left like a permanent stain on a lot of these players that I don't think was fair. Like Jahan got a bad rap after last year. Diami got a bad rap. And you could say Diami hadn't done anything prior to that, and that's fair. But 2022, he had that one game against Tennessee. I'm not going to let it go because it happened, and that shows he's capable. And obviously, Terry got a somewhat of a bad rap last year. It was just bad all the way around. Brian Robinson Jr. didn't get, I think, the recognition he deserved because of the way the offense was called and how things went. And it was just bad all the way around. I think the offensive line got a worse rap than it deserved last year, to be honest with you. It wasn't a great unit by any stretch of the imagination, but they could have been put in better positions to succeed. At the end of the day, I talked about how play calling can help out your offensive line, and Cliff showed you that today. Doesn't have to be 50 straight passing attempts. That helps nobody. Run the football, mix in some quick game, and you can take your shots down the field. Those help as well. You want those opportunities. But we can work our way towards those. You don't have to come out and try to get those deep shots and those big chunk plays right out of the gate. Even though this was quote unquote vanilla, I enjoyed the play calling from Cliff today. I did. Fresh Montana, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Fresh writes, Fresh. Lou, what up, Fresh? When was the last time we had an explosive pass play, accurate ball on the first possession? We got us one. Now, there's a lot there to to digest, right? And first of all, let's stop at explosive play. Forget about when it happened. When's the last time we just had an explosive play? I think the last explosive we had in the season was the Terry catch against the Jets. No. I think Terry had one against the 49ers down the sideline, if I'm not mistaken. Like, the fact that we can recall, like, pinpoint the explosives that we had last year, they were so rare for us. We were so disgusting on offense last year. It's ridiculous. Then, like you said, on the first possession, That doesn't happen, especially with a rookie. That doesn't usually happen. I watched Michael Penix. He had a nice little deep ball down the sideline, but it wasn't as deep as Jayden's, and it wasn't in tight coverage. But he put it on the money down that same, right sideline. But it's just amazing to see Jayden get to the line, see the coverage, adjust the play call, right? Get him into an obvious one-on-one situation and go for the deep ball, go for the jugular, and then drop it in the bucket. Great catch by Diami, too. I don't want to understate. That was a great catch by Diami. It was a tough, contested catch. Ball was put in the perfect spot, but he had to fight through a ton of contact. It's a great catch by Diami Brown. Put some respect on that man's name. Hey, Fresh, I do think we got us one. I do think we got us one. I don't want to jump the gun. I don't want to get too excited. You see the smile on my face, right? You see the shit-eating grin, right? Yeah. I think we got us one. Rocky D. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, it's pre-season, but Ben Sinnott looking like the future. It's good to know that after Ertz, you got Sinnott. So you got 2 pass-catching tight ends. We used to just have one. Because Logan Thomas, he could catch, but he wasn't going anywhere. So it really was like, hey, if Cole Turner ain't up, and available, we really don't have no pass catcher that can do something. Now we got 2 dudes that can do something. Now we got 2 dudes that can do a little something. So I'm excited. Gear Cell 1. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Gear Cell 1 writes, secondary definitely played with yoga pants today. Tragic. It wasn't all bad back there. Some guys gave up big plays, but for the most part, it was clean. Right? It was real clean. Pierre got beat on a deep ball. Again, another perfect throw. And Forbes got beat on a deep ball touchdown. It wasn't super deep. It wasn't like it was 40 yards. But it still was a really good pass, good catch, and he got beat. Outside of that, the secondary was pretty solid today. Pretty solid. Sean Moore. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Sean Moore writes, don't forget, after the check, he held the S and whipped his head, pause, back to the right, and threw a dime outside shoulder. I got to go back and watch the play again to see if he manipulated the safety. He probably did, because my guess is he got to the line of scrimmage. He identified single high free safety, knew that if I manipulate this safety with my eyes, get him to leave, I got Diami one-on-one backside, or front side, rather. So I got to go back and look at it. But I take you at face value. He probably did all of those things that you said. Probably started out the play looking backside, staring down that side. Safety goes over there and immediately turns and knows I got Diami, one-on-one, because I checked to it. And now I'm going to go ahead and give him a chance. Like you said, perfect ball placement, even better catch. So a lot there that makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside about the young fella at the quarterback position. Filthy Rich 007. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I'd rather see Gilmore get cooked than Forbes, to be honest. I don't know if I agree with that or not, because I know what Gilmore is at this point of his career. With Forbes, there's still a chance that he could be that playmaker. Like, we know he's not a man-to-man cover guy. At this point, Gilmore is better at that than he is, but Gilmore's old, so you can still beat him too. But at this point, I wouldn't mind kicking the tires on Stephon Gilmore either, if he's still available, and I think he is. I wouldn't mind kicking the tires on him, personally. But I think you have to find out what Forbes is. And I know a lot of you have already made up your mind as to what he is. They haven't. The staff hasn't made up their mind yet. And they shouldn't. This is why it's great that fans aren't in control of the team. Because I told you, I think when they start scheming it up, when they start sending pressure, when they start getting to the quarterback, Forbes might be the perfect guy on the back end to start taking the football away. No turnovers today. Ball is life. No turnovers today. So you want to see more of that, and we didn't get a lot of that today. So I'd like to see at some point in the preseason this defense create at least a turnover, right? Silver Fox, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Silver Fox writes, "Hey, Lou, what's going on, Silver Fox? You may be too young, but Sennett looks like Mark Bavaro. He did on that play when Mark Bavaro, carried about 19 Buffalo Bills in that Super Bowl." Yeah. Or actually, I think that was the 49ers NFC Championship game when he carried about 6 San Francisco Giants in that game, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, no, I remember Mark Bavaro. Super excited for the season, and I'd take the over with the 6.5 wins. I think I would too. I'm right there with you, Silver Fox. I'd take the over on that. I think we're going to get to 7, at least 7. So I looked at the schedule during the telecast. They showed the schedule, and I only really looked at the schedule when it first came out. I really haven't looked at it again since. So I forgot we played so many road games early. We play a bunch of road games early in the season. My goodness. Like 4 out of our first 6 games are on the road, I think. And I think 6 out of our first 8 or something like that are on the road. It's a really tough stretch of ball early for us, and not a lot of home cooking for us either. But even saying that, I think we can get off to a 2-2 start. Looking at the schedule, I mean, you can get off to a 3-1 start, but I'm not going to press my luck. At Tampa, home for the Giants, at Cincinnati, at Arizona, 3 out of your first 4 on the road, but these were bad teams last year. Giants weren't good last year. Arizona wasn't good last year. Cincinnati and, of course, Tampa Bay are good teams, and Tampa Bay made the playoffs last year and won the division and won a playoff game, but they're beatable, right? So are the Giants, so are the Cardinals. And I mean, I think we're going to have a shot against Cincinnati, truth be told. I don't think we're going to beat them, but you can get off to a 2-2 start. You'll feel good about that. 3-1, and you're like, shit, let's go have ourselves a season. But I think there's a chance that this team, wins 7 games and you feel good about the 7 wins, right? And they were in 3 or 4 more ball games, and you could easily convince yourself that if the ball bounced this way and if we made a play here or a play there, we could have won 10, 11 games. That's kind of how I feel like the season's ultimately going to go, right? I'm excited, though. I'm just like you. I'm super excited, Silver Fox, for the season. I can't wait. I was excited for this game, and it went according to script. I mean, I couldn't have planned it any better. It went as planned. It went just the way that I scripted it in my head. And they even exceeded my expectations with the Jayden deep ball completion and the keep for the touchdown. I didn't think we were going to score an opening possession touchdown. So yeah. Damn Twin Shorty Sublime, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, "Sets cup down with Kool-Aid stained upper lip." That was fun to watch. No, you did not put your cup down after guzzling with the upper lip, with the Kool-Aid upper lip stain, right? With that red mark going across the top. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, this game didn't force you to put your cup down. And if you did put your cup down, it was only to fill it back up. This game didn't do anything to make you feel any different If anything, it put more of a battery in your back. So that's funny. That's funny stuff. Hey, I caution you guys. Be careful. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. Stay even keel. It's just the preseason. Just the same thing I said about the joint. It's just one joint practice. Relax. It's just one preseason game. Relax. Okay? RELAX. Relax. You were already drinking. You were already guzzling in it. So it ain't nothing I can tell you. I've tried to get a lot of y'all to sip slow. You already guzzling. So it is what it is at this point. Cisco mixed with that dipper. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes? LeBron got funked on and fell down. What is funked on? Did he get dunked on? He got dunked on in the Olympic finals against France. I'm actually interested to see what's going on in that game since I'm not watching it live. I got it recording though. I'm actually interested to see what they're doing. Okay, they're up 7. I expect them to win this game by double figures. I'll be disappointed if they don't. France has a lot of NBA players on it though, so I knew they're not going to be a pushover. Of course, they got Wemby on that squad as well. But I expect the Olympic men to bring home the gold medal. And we'll talk more about that on the podcast on Monday for sure. Jason Rogers, Uncle Jay, been a member for 26 months. Writes, what up, Lou? Went to the game, and so far, I like what I see outside of Emmanuel Forbes. I got you. I'm going to hold you down, Emmanuel. I'm going to hold you down as much as I can. Like I always tell the field goal kickers, I'm going to fight for you as long as I can, but you got to give me something to work with. You got to give me a reason to be able to take this to the masses and keep them at bay with their pitchforks and torches. You got to give me something to work with. I can't tell them to give you a chance, and then every time they see you, you giving up a touchdown. You giving up a tub. I need you to give me something. Pick a pass off. Do something. Give them a reason to say, all right, man, I'm going to back off a little bit. So you went to the game. You liked what you saw. I was at home, and I liked what I saw. You were there in person, and you liked what you saw. There's so many layers to this. I love the camaraderie on the sidelines. I love the togetherness of this team. You can see the depth at certain positions starting to shine. Like you can see the depth at safety. You can see the depth at defensive tackle, right? So you can see the depth at certain places. You can see the depth at tight end even, right? There was no Ertz today, but Sennett played well. You know, Bates had some good blocks. And, you know, even though Turner had a rough go of it with the 2 penalties and he really didn't do much on the tight end screen, we know he's talented too and he can do a little something, right? I wanted to see Colson Yankoff though. I don't think I saw him get in there at all today. But anyway, you even see some depth at receiver. You know, we talked a lot about this receiver position and y'all were nervous wrecks. I'm like, I'm not nervous about receiver. We're fine. OZ looked good. Diami looked good. We know what Terry is. Jahan's going to be fine. Luke made some plays. Good for him. We're going to be fine. I feel good. Kevin the PRF. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, sent 2 earlies forwarded to me. The game gave me a feeling we're going to be complaining a lot about our defense setting the edge. I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think we're going to be fine. You said you sent a couple from earlier. Let me see if all right, so I got 2 here. And then I got one from another video. So I'm gonna take those, all three of those, before we get out of here. I'm gonna take all three of those on the other side of this ad from BetUS.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.
So I had a super chat from Fireman West on my last stream that he sent out right as I was getting off, so I didn't see it. So Fireman West, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Fireman West writes, what's up, Lou? What's up, Fireman? Should we be concerned about Forbes and the O-line? I know it's early, but I'm rooting for both of them. HTTC. Well, clearly, I think it's evident right now that there is concern swirling around Emmanuel Forbes. More concern for him than the offensive line, I think, at this point. I think there still should be concern about the offensive line. You're not out of the woods yet. We still haven't seen Brandon Coleman in an actual setting against another team. So we still don't know what he's capable of. I don't want you to have a false sense of security regarding the offensive line. I do think you should feel good that they didn't wet the bed and embarrass themselves against a B- squad out there, even though we had backup tackles. The interior was intact. They performed well, and the tackles didn't embarrass themselves. You should feel good about that. I'm going to go back and watch to see how Trenton Scott did. I know on the deep ball, Paul had some help from the running back out of the backfield who chipped and helped him out, which is what you're supposed to do. Like, you have to protect your weak links there. But at the end of the day, don't allow the performance today to lull you to sleep. We still have concerns up front, but Forbes is the consistent one, because every single time you look up, whether it's in practice and Terry's getting him, or the joint practice and Garrett Wilson was having his way, or in the game, you know, Brownlee gets him for a touchdown. It just seems to be a consistent theme that he's given something up. And I think that they continue to put him in uncomfortable situations. Remember, you know, Michael Davis talked about the staff preaching being comfortable in uncomfortable situations. I think Emmanuel Forbes is uncomfortable in man-to-man situations, right? But they're going to continue to put him in those situations because they want him to become comfortable being uncomfortable in the event that they need him to do that, right? But I think he's going to excel when they start to put in different, you know, blitzes and different things that's going to force the ball out quick, that's going to give him an opportunity to make plays on the football. He didn't forget how to do that, and I think that's where he's going to have a shot. But if he can't do that, then, again, that's his superpower, taking it away. If he can't take it away, then he really doesn't serve much of a purpose if he can't do that, because right now the man-to-man coverage, it just ain't man-to-manning right now, right? So I got a super chat here from Dennis Bartholomew. Once again, thank you, Kevin, the PRF, for forwarding me the 2 early supers. Dennis Bartholomew writes, NHO, new Hartman order, LOL. He looked good today. Sam played well. Outside of the one throw that he threw directly to the safety that should have been intercepted, I'd say he did well. You know, gave his receivers an opportunity, you know, showed some wheels, showed the ability to throw on the move. I thought he did really well distributing the football. He looked comfortable out there, but I'm not surprised. Again, I watched him at Wake Forest. I watched him at Notre Dame last year. I'm not surprised, you know. And that throw that he threw to the safety, I'm not surprised by that either, because there's usually 1 or 2 throws every game. Sam, what the hell was that? Like, where did that come from? So, yeah, NHL. I'm never going to live that one down, am I? And that's fine. I don't mind. I don't mind at all. Dennis Bartholomew, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. who writes, the commander's name is Ian, but they call him Ian. Really kept me dying. Also, CRJR didn't do himself, Chris Rodriguez Jr., for those of you, didn't do himself any favors today. I'm still in my car for Forbes. Yeah. Like Chris Rodriguez, I've said this already. He's bland. Like there's nothing about his game that really stands out outside of him being a bigger, physically imposing back. Nothing about his game really stands out to me. Everything is kind of meh. And if that's the case, then you can find somebody that offers you something more than that. I just feel like. Again, I'm planting my flag for Michael Wiley because he can offer you a few different things. Now, I don't know if Wiley plays special teams. My guess is Jeremy McNichols plays a mean special teams because that's how he's kept himself in the league, by being able to run down, make a tackle on special teams. Can Michael Wiley say the same? I don't know that for a fact. If Michael Wiley can run down and make a tackle on special teams, sign me up right now. Sign me up. I'm starting a campaign and I'm taking donations. Donations. Don't hit me. I thought it was a trash can. We'll see. But right now, I don't know if Chris Rodriguez has a spot on this roster. If it's 3, they could be looking at Jeremy McNichols. If it's 4, give me Michael Wiley. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. And the commentators for our game, I'm not gonna rag on them this year. I did that last year. B. Mitch and Chick Hernandez. I talked about how how porous the telecast was last year. I'm not gonna beat them up. Yeah, I already know Chick called Michael Wiley Wilson 15 times in this game. I'm not gonna do that. At this point, I'm gonna just let it rock. It is what it is. I know what to expect, so I'm no longer. I told you earlier, if you know what to expect, then you should be fine. Like, we know what we're getting from Forbes, and if you keep putting him in those situations, then shame on you. If I keep getting upset knowing what I signed up for with this telecast, shame on me. I'm not gonna get upset anymore because I know now. I didn't know last year, so I was pissed off. Like, what the hell is this shit? I can't get jiggy with this shit. Now I know what I'm signing up for. So it is what it is. Thank you for those super chats, Dennis, and thank you for capturing those, Kevin the PRF. So that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on this installment of the Command Post Game Live. Commanders in their first preseason game of the 2024-2025 season. Impressed. They look good. They were cohesive. They did the things that we've heard them talking about. They played fast. They played physical. They were disciplined for the most part. The penalties picked up a little bit in the second half. But Jayden Daniels in the first team offense looked good. The first team defense went out there and looked good, got off the field on a 3-and-out. Special teams, still a question mark. I feel better about the punt returning situation with OZ back there. I feel better about kickoff return with Byron Pringle back there. The punt return coverage unit, though, leaves a little bit to be desired. They gave up a 33-yard return or a kickoff return to the 33-yard line or so on that first possession that kind of put the offense out there, or defense, first team defense out in a tough spot, but they were able to get the stop, get off the field, and force the punt. But Riley Patterson missed the field goal. Ramiz Ahmed made all 3 of his kicks, the 2 extra points and the field goal. So right now, advantage Ramiz Ahmed. If there's even still a competition, Riley Patterson, I wouldn't be shocked if they cut his ass. Go coach Red Bull you on his ass, cut his ass, and pick up a new kicker this week. We'll see what happens, but ultimately, I was impressed. So that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. You'll probably see my face again because there are a lot of really good games in the preseason. Bears and that's today. Bears and Bills today. So you might see me for that one. And tomorrow we have Colts and Broncos. Both teams are playing their starters in that game. And, you know, the Titans are playing Will Levis and their starters. And Joe Burrow is playing this week against Tampa Bay. And so, you know, J.J. McCarthy is playing against the Raiders. And so I just watched Michael Penix Jr. against the Dolphins. There's so many games with so many players that I'm interested in. And Sam Howell plays tonight, and I got to go check on my boy. He's out there struggling. Heard he was homesick. I got to go check on my guy. So anyway, I digress. You guys get out of here. Have a good one. Take care. Man, that was a good start. I'm so encouraged by the start. Get out of here.